Hey everybody, welcome to Hump Day Hangout. This is episode number 514, and today is the 18th of September 2024. We are going to get into all of your local SEO and who knows, all sorts of other questions. But first, want to say hi to the guys. Got a couple quick announcements, and then we'll jump into it. So, Chris, how you doing today?
Doing good. Busy as usual. Lots of work. So other than that, pretty good.
Nice. All right, Bradley, how about yourself?
Busy as all hell, but here nonetheless. So
All
let's
right.
get
Well, I
after
think
it, man.
today's going to be a pretty short announcement section. I was trying to remember if we had stuff to share with people, but I don't think we have any upcoming webinars next week. I did just want to remind people. I'll put the replay link up. I forget I wanted everyone to check out the Answer AI stuff. I think that that's a really important thing for people to stay on top of as we move forward. But did you guys have anything else that you thought we should share besides telling people to subscribe to the YouTube channel?
At this moment, no, I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but I also wasn't trying to plan for that.
Yeah, no
So
worries. Yeah, we sometimes we've got a lot to cover, sometimes we don't. So if we don't, that's all good. Let's just jump into questions.
right on. Well, I've got something that I wanted to one of our members who's been asking a ton of questions, he's got a bunch of them posted again today. He sent me an email that I found last week. So last week when I went to go start reviewing a project that somebody else sent me an email from Hump Day Hangouts, it wasn't the same one that so I started audit or kind of reviewing that live, which makes it difficult because it's better to prepare that ahead of time. And come to find out in the comments that he wasn't it wasn't the same guy. So I've got his opened up and I did some research on it today. I did it myself manually instead of having my team do prepare the report. So I got a few of the competitor backlink analyses done, but that's okay because I'm not doing a full SEO audit for free in a public setting. I'm just not going to do it. So I'm still just so Huzaifa, if that's how you say it properly, again, forgive me if I'm butchering your name. I've got some analyses done. Fortunately, there's not a lot of pages on your site, no backlinks apparently, so there's not a lot of data to cover, but I do want to kind of cover that today because I promised you that I would. So we do have a number of questions to get through as well. So I think what I'm going to try to do is roll through these questions as quickly as possible and then spend whatever time is left in doing that kind of site review that he asked me to review. Okay. So if that's all right with you guys, I'm going to grab the screen and we'll
Sounds
kind of
good.
jump right into it. I got a ton of tabs open, so let me actually close some of these down before I grab the screen because otherwise it's going to mess me up. I usually do all this, but I was trying to prepare this report and doing backlink competitor analysis prior to the call, and so I didn't get it all done. So just give me 1 second, guys. Let me get this cleaned up a little bit. And the redirect is fixed, right, Adam? I've got that. I can't remember if I set that up
Yeah, I'll
properly or
double
not
check
today.
it real quick. Yep,
Okay, I
we are
think we're
good.
good. All right, thanks, man. So let me grab the screen. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Okay, guys. So we're going to run through these questions. I'll try to be brief. I know it's hard for me to be brief in my answers to anything, but I'll try this time, I promise. So let me go ahead and zoom in on this a little bit. The first question's from Huzaifa, and again, forgive me if I'm butchering your name, man. I got to hear somebody say that sometime before I'll get it right. I'm just awful with names, just to be clear. I'm sure you guys are aware of that by now. The first question is, what if the top level topic term and top level category are the same? Then that's perfect. Applying your teachings to the dental industry, and I think dentist fits is both the top level topic and category. Yeah, but there's other. I could have sworn I answered this question last week. Maybe I did. Let me zoom out a little bit. Yeah, this was from last week. So, okay, I'm going to skip over that one. But dentist and dental clinic, those are the two that I would use. So, dentist is both the top level topic and category term. You're correct. But what I would do is do dentist and dental clinic. Those would be the two terms that I would target. So one is topic, one is category. I know they're both the same in this instance, but what I would do is target dentist in the SEO title, dental clinic in the H1, or vice versa. Doesn't matter. What I found is it makes no difference as to whether the what you use it. When I talk about topic and category optimization, guys, just to be clear, it's entity-based optimization or entity-based SEO, but I call it topic and category optimization because I work in the local SEO space. And so in local SEO, I want to optimize for topics, for organic search, and for categories for map search, to be clear about that. Okay. So when I'm talking about optimizing for topics and categories, it is for optimizing for both so that the project will perform better in both organic search and map search. And so identifying the categories is easy. You just go look at the Google business categories that are associated with the top ranked competitors for the search queries that you want to rank for. Extract all the categories, eliminate the ones that are clearly not relevant, because you'll see that. Only select the ones that are relevant. Now you have your categories. Then you can determine what the topics are from those categories. You can use those as a starting point to identify the topics through using the words in the category terms as search queries plus Wikipedia appended to them. I'm not going to go through that exercise now. I've done that dozens of times on Hump Day Hangouts. Just go watch old replays if you want to see it. But what I'm saying is, then once you've identified the topics or entities, Wikipedia topics is what I call them, or they're entries within Wikipedia. Then you compile that list, and now you have your categories, and you have all the topics or entities associated with that industry, right? The ones that are relevant. You've collected them. And then what you do is you optimize, and it's going to require, for whatever industry you're in, it's going to require a little bit of testing to figure out what the best configuration is of entity terms or topic terms, and because you can combine them to create new topics from two separate topics. You can do that. And so it's a matter of playing around with those and testing to determine, and it's just through trial and error and monitoring results. Remember, direct response marketing, to find out what the best performing configuration is, that becomes the control. Then you change a single variable and you test that against the control, and you see if it produces a performance gain or a loss. And depending on if it produces a gain, test it again. If you can repeat that more often than not, right? And if it more often than not, that single variable change produces a positive result, then you know that now that can be included into the control. That becomes the new control. In other words, you see what I'm saying? And so that's how you test that stuff to figure out what is the best performing configuration. I can give you the framework, but it's going to be up to you to do the trial and error to determine what is most effective. But then again, you optimize the SEO title for one and the H1 for the other. So topic term and the SEO title, and the H1 for the category term, or vice versa. It really makes no difference. I have not seen any difference in performance, because Google will select from either the SEO title or the H1 what it thinks is most appropriate, if that's clear. So when you're optimizing that way, guys, you're optimizing for both Google business categories, map search, and topics for organic search. And that's why I do it the way that I do, because we're hitting the same, we're restating the entity terms within the SEO titles or meta titles of in the H1, just using variants of those entity terms, if that makes sense. That is precisely what we're doing. So we're optimizing very, very thoroughly for the entities, the topics and categories associated with that industry. And that's why the page can rank for all of the search queries, even if the particular search query isn't present on the page, because we're optimizing for the topics, the entities, the categories, right? What Google has an understanding of the search queries that are associated with either the topics or the categories. So when you optimize for those, you can rank for all the search queries associated with either the topic or the category, even if the keyword's not present on the page. And I know that's hard for people to understand, but it shouldn't be, because Google has a very good understanding through its database of our language, its large language model that's integrated into Google search algorithm. So it has a very good understanding of this. And so that's why I always recommend you guys to be studying Wikipedia entities for the entities related to the industries that you're working in, so that you can understand how Google understands those topics, right? Look at subtopics, look at see alsos, I showed this the other day, but very quickly, if I just look at dentist, right? Wikipedia, I showed this last week. One of our mastermind members, Nalan, who's in the UK, he showed me this. He showed our group this in the mastermind this last a couple of weeks ago, and I thought it was just a brilliant find. And that is, when you find an entity related to your industry, go to Tools, click on What Links Here, and then you click on hide transclusions and hide links, and click Go. And this shows you the other entity terms that have been redirected, meaning synonymous with this top level entity, dentist. So this gives you additional variants that you can use when you're optimizing for topics and categories for entities, so that you're not hammering the same keyword over and over and over again, like most of you probably still do. And I'm only saying that because, again, I've just been fucking hammered with audit requests in the past month. I've had over 30 audit requests in the last 30 days. and it takes me 3 hours to prepare a full audit. It's unbelievable. I'm really having a hard time keeping up with this and still managing all the other work that I have to do. No kidding. I'm going to have to raise my prices significantly because the demand is just too high. And so I bring that up because every single time I audit properties from, I mean, God, it doesn't matter. It's 9 out of 10 audits that I do are horrible. They're awful, awful on-page optimization tactics being used. And it just blows me away. And so because I see the over optimization, the duplication, the redundancy, all the stuff where, I mean, one of the ones I did in this past week was for a marketing agency. That's what we're going to be talking about today for who's IFA or whatever. Sorry about your name again. But for the gentleman that I'm going to review today, it was a similar project. It was a digital marketing agency in London. And oh my God, you know, especially as a digital marketing agency, you should lead by example. If you're going to be offering local SEO services in your own local city, and you claim that you do SEO as well as web design and everything else, then your site should probably be optimized to where it ranks fairly well and not over optimized. And I'm not going to call anybody out here, but in the URL, in the root domain said web design, then the ultimate page, you know, for like the web design plus city or plus supporting location at the end. So the end, the page slug eventually was 4 levels deep. So there were 3 directories, and then it finally got to the 4th. And in the brand name, it said web design. Then it said website designer, then web design. Then in the final slug was web design plus the city name. So web design, website designer, those which are all basically synonymous with each other, was used 5 times in the URL before, and in the SEO title, exact same term, H1, exact same term, multiple H2s on the page, exact same term. And so it's like unbelievable to me to see that kind of stuff in 2024 at the end, near the end of 2024. And so this is how you can overcome that, guys. You understand what the topics and categories are and the synonyms that are related to that. And there's a way to do that. You can look at dentist, dental surgeon, stuff that's bolded in the Wikipedia pages, right? You can go to that tools. Thank you, Nolan. That's a fantastic find. What links here? Hide transclusions, hide links, click go. Boom. There's additional variants of this entity term that you can use in the on-page optimization and in anchor text links. Think about it, guys. It's way better to add diversity to these types of things instead of hammering the same. Again, I understand why we used to do it, but we don't have to do that anymore. Okay. So fix it. If you've got projects out there like that, fix them, right? Stop leaving that shit out there and then sending those projects to me and say, I don't understand why this isn't performing better. Come on. You already know. You should know. If you look at that URL and you see the keyword is repeated 5 times in the URL alone, you should know. It shouldn't require me to audit the project for me to tell you that's over optimized. Don't do that. You should be able to tell from just looking at it, right? And so again, like I said, this is a great way to identify those types of related terms and entity terms that are synonyms with the top level terms and categories so that you can optimize for that. The last thing I'm going to say about this, and we're going to move on to the next one, is also in studying these top level entities, you can get subtopic ideas from the subheadings within the, or headings and subheadings within the page. You can also go to see also sometimes and see additional related or tangential entities, right? So those, it's worth going and taking a look at some of those too. And then lastly, the other thing is understanding the internal linking from within the Wikipedia pages, because Wikipedia is a master at internal linking. And that's part of the reason their site gains so much domain authority and just authority and strength in general, not Moz's domain authority metric, although that too. Because internal linking is super, super powerful when done correctly. And so that's where, again, and I started studying all this and testing with it and everything, I started looking at really trying to study and modeling how Wikipedia does things in my own site builds, because Google understands it, that our language that way, number one. And number two, because it's effective, and it's certainly effective because Wikipedia comes up for almost any type of search query that you can think of, right? And so again, it's just that's why I always recommend studying this stuff. So anyway, so much for a short answer. Let's get to the next one. Hopefully that was clear. The next one is from Chuck. He says, would you suggest setting the URL of a Citation Vault listing to the ID page URL with a brand anchor instead of the Google map. Yes, that's what we do at Semantic Links. We absolutely, that's exactly what we use, the ID page URL as the target URL for Citation Vault with the brand name as the anchor. That is 100% what we do. The only time we use a Google Maps share URL instead is if the project doesn't have an ID page, which if it's one of our client, if it's a client of our, if it's a client's client, so or if somebody's purchasing links from Semantic Links under a subscription plan, that's when we do Citation Vault, not for one-off services. And we always use the, and under all subscriptions, we build an ID page. So we use the ID page URL as the target URL for Citation Vault with a brand anchor. That's precisely what we do at Semantic Links. Okay. Yes, we did previously use the GBP website as the target. When that went away, and I've tested using it, the Google Maps share URL, it's better results using the ID page. And part of the reason I like that is I talked about this last week. What Alex Becker coined the term pillowing, right? Pillowing is when I learned that term many years ago, he was talking about pillowing with generic anchors, or what I call miscellaneous anchors. So in other words, you build a base layer of URL anchors and miscellaneous or generic anchors to a page first before you start hitting it with keyword anchors. And there's been keyword anchors according as far as it relates to local. I think of two types of keyword anchors, topic anchors and target anchors. Topic anchors are keyword only. Target anchors are keyword plus location modifier. So pillowing is the concept of, sending non-keyword based links, anchor text links to a page first, so that you pillow it. It's like adding cushion to that page before you start hitting it with anchor text links, keyword anchor text links that are so that you don't run the risk of over optimizing. Now, this was many, many years ago, guys. I don't recommend that, but I still like the term pillowing, because what I recommend doing is not using a bunch of generics and miscellaneous and URL anchors. By the way, I don't like using URL anchors at all, full stop. If you're going to use a URL anchor, why not just use a brand anchor instead? I don't like URL anchors. I think anchor text should be descriptive of what it is linking to. Or anchor text is better than a URL, in my opinion. And so if I'm going to link to something, instead of using a URL anchor, I want to use a brand anchor or a compound anchor, which is a brand plus. So brand plus a keyword, or brand plus a location modifier, or something like that. But I like to pillow with brand anchors. So that's why I do that with Citation Vault, by the way, is because with our link building campaigns, see if I can demonstrate this real quick, guys, just to show you. I'll show you what I mean, just so you can see it. It'd be better if I could show it visually. Oops, sorry, guys. Back to where I was. Actually, I already had that open right here. Duh. I already knew I had that open too. Right here is Louisville Felling Pro. Just as an example, you can see it here. Okay. So the ID page has been added to Citation Vault. I'll just demonstrate it. God damn it. I don't know why I haven't put that link in here yet. Just give me 1 second. I'll pull it up. That's an older workbook. And for whatever reason, and I even had this issue a couple of days ago on a sales call, and I didn't add it, and I should have. So give me 1 minute while I pull it up. Citation Vault is being slow right now. Oh, for the love of God. Just work. It's trying to load. This page is not loading. Okay, well, I'm not going to wait for it. We're going to go to Majestic and just take a look at something else in the meantime. Citation Vault may be down right now. It's not loading at all for me, which is fine. All right, so let me show you. This is what I'm talking about. So there, finally loaded. Look at that. Give me 1 second, guys, while I get in there. Well, I'll wait because it's going to probably take forever to log in now. So Citation Vault links are really slow to index unless you extract them and then send them to indexers, which I don't recommend. Just let Google find those naturally, in my opinion. I mean, you can send them to Google or send them to indexers if you want. I'm not going to waste the time. Google will find them eventually. But here's an example, the ID page. So if we go down and take a look, Yeah, see, this has still got the old links coming up. I was testing, I tried Citation Vault a long time ago on the direct to the money site for this project, Louisville Felling Pro, when I first started testing that site structure that I use now. And so at the time I had pointed Citation Vault direct to the money site page, which I highly encourage you not to do. And then I used the ID page, and what the older version of Citation Vault had and maybe they still do, but in like a menu section, if for like restaurants and shit. And I just put the ID page in there. And so it's some of those links are still showing in Majestic's index, apparently, even though they've been deleted because Citation Vault completely changed everything and its URL structure, all kinds of stuff over the last 6 months or so. They've done several changes. And so all those old links are gone. And then I had updated it to the I'll just show you because I want you guys to see it just so you're not thinking, but you just don't see them in the backlink report yet because I've not sent them specifically for indexing or to Majestic. By the way, in Majestic, you can submit backlinks or page URLs that contain a backlink to whatever you want for Majestic to pick up and crawl. You can go to the URL submitter. Goddamn, Citation Vault is just being absolutely retarded right now. I'm going to move on. But anyway, so you're not seeing it here, but what I typically do, and I'm going to be linking with brand anchors to the ID page because it's about 300 links once they're finally all picked up. And so that builds a base layer of brand anchors to the ID page. And then from that point forward, and this is what I started to show you, and I was going to just show you the backlink profile, but again, Citation Vault is just being stupid. So if we go over here and take a look at this, you can see that when we start building links directly to the ID page, instead of through something like Citation Vault, we stick with brand or keyword anchors because we built the base layer of brand anchors. Does that make sense? So pillowing is that kind of concept of doing that. Hopefully that's clear. See, it's still not loaded. I'm bailing out of there, guys. I'm not going to waste any more time on that stupid site. Anyway, moving on. So yeah, GB website target was a great target, but now that that's gone, the ID page is the best substitute. I do recommend brand anchors first. You can do it with a press release, by the way. If you're not using Citation Vault, it's fine. Use a press release. Order a press release. Use the ID page as a target URL and with a brand anchor. Now you've got your ID page has been properly pillowed so that now you can hit it with proper links with relevance. So better, higher authority links with more relevance, etc. And then focus in on keyword anchors instead, as shown here. Does that make sense? Because remember, press release links, Citation Vault links, they're very low quality. Like they don't produce a lot of power, right? There's not a lot of link equity flowing from those links. So you do that to build that pillowed layer of brand anchors. And then when you hit it with more appropriate links that are relevant, like what these show, these types of relevance metrics, now you're hitting them with keyword anchors that are super relevant coming from relevant sources, right? So you're pushing topical relevance through keyword relevant anchors to the page that has already been pillowed with brand anchors so that it's not over optimized. That makes sense. Okay. So that's how you end up having, if I can get Zoom out of the way now. Well, this one, again, you can be more aggressive with keywords here. And remember, it's not picking up all the anchors anyway. But you can certainly be more aggressive with anchors to the ID page as well. Okay. Anyway, I got to move on because I do want to get to this other thing for this other guy. So Blake says on an episode a while back, you mentioned you were joining a Google Ads training. Which one was it? And it is good. Yes, it's very good. It's Ed Leake's. Ed Leake, L-E-A-K-E. I'm probably saying his name wrong. He actually just sent me an email earlier today, if I could find it. But it's God Tier Ads. Ed Leake. Go to his YouTube channel. You can find all you need from him. Just go to YouTube and search for God Tier Ads, like God, G-O-D, Tier, T-I-E-R, Ads, or Ed Leake. As a matter of fact, let's just go check it together. Ed, L-E-K-E. I'm probably mispronouncing his last name too. Like I said, I'm terrible with names. This guy right here, he's a fucking beast. He's in the UK, I think. But he's awesome, man. He's got really good training. It's probably the best Google Ads training I've purchased. He's got a really good mastermind program. It's, I think, $200 a month. That's what I purchased into. This guy's really good. He puts out a lot of really good information on his YouTube channel. So go check it out. Will, how to hook up the ID page into local business schema? Will, just put it in the add ID field of local business schema. Okay. Um, I don't think that was a trick question. So let me just show you, if we go into the Merkle schema, God damn it, Zoom, get out of the way, Jesus. This tool is a free tool that you can use for it, but like, for example, we're going to go in here and go to local business. This is Merkle. Just search for Merkle schema markup generator, and you'll see it pops up in the #1 position. Okay. Anyways, from here, if you go to local business type, let's just say home and construction business, right? Because that's a more specific subtype. Let's say, I don't know, let's say we're talking about a roofing contractor. Well, right, it doesn't matter. That just designates the subtype. That's all that does, right? But then right there's the add ID field. If you don't have the add ID field in whatever schema generator you're using, first of all, it means it's a shitty schema generator if it doesn't have an add ID field. But if it doesn't, so use something else is what I'm saying. But if it doesn't, then just look at the code how right here. All you got to do is just underneath one of these main points is put a comma at the end of that line and then add quote, add ID, close quote, colon, space, then quotes, and where you put the value in between the quotes and then comma at the end of the quote. So you just add that line right there into your code. If you're using a schema generator that doesn't automatically add the add ID field, then again, it's probably a shitty schema generator, #1. #2, just add it manually if needed to. So just go to the Merkle schema generator. Just select, you don't even need to select any of that shit. It really doesn't matter. Just, if you clear that, let's just refresh the page just to show you. We'll just leave it default settings. All you got to do is go to local business schema and then copy that code right there, that one fucking line, and put it into the code just as you see it right here. And then just put your add ID, or excuse me, the ID page URL right there between the quotes. That's all you got to do, right? And save it. Okay. Trevor says, you mentioned doing a lot of testing when it comes to top level topic terms and top level categories. Could you go over your testing process? Is it with the client site or personal sites that you have created? Thanks. Well, I always start testing with my own sites. Usually what I do is I create lead gen sites because I'm in one industry, tree service industry. So anytime I want to test something, I just build another site in the tree service industry in a different location. And I test on that. And so what I typically do is once I have determined something that performs well, that becomes the control, as I test against that, I try to split test single variable changes against that one control. And so when I talk about the testing, like I said, like I always mention, I talk about, I can give you the framework, but it's going to require some trial and error on your part to figure out what the best performing configuration is. So an example would be testing, changing the topic term and the category term between the SEO title and the H1, right? In other words, if you optimize for the top level category in the SEO title, then in the top level topic term in the H1, then maybe you've got a decent performer. And then you want to test the same setup, but changing the order of those two, transposing the order, right? And see, does the other version, in my testing, that has made no difference whatsoever. That's why it's okay to be interchangeable with how you optimize either for topics or categories in the SEO title and H1. You just play around with that. But the other thing would be like probably a better test, because I already know that it doesn't, at least in my testing, it doesn't appear to make any difference. Would be like once you've extracted the entity terms that are related to the industry that you're working in, the ones that are relevant. So that's again where you look at Google Business Categories first. You can extract those and compile a list of that very quickly and easily as to which categories are relevant to your industry or whatever industry you're researching. And then you take terms that are related to those categories and go search queries and go add them to Wikipedia, or excuse me, Google search, and append Wikipedia to the term. And look at what entities appear sorted by Google according to how Google thinks they're relevant and related to the seed search query. That's why we use Google instead of Wikipedia for searching for those terms, so that we can identify how Google ranks or sorts, how Google sorts the Wikipedia entities based upon what Google thinks is relevant to the seed search query. Does that make sense? And you start to extract those entities or Wikipedia page URLs and terms and put them into a spreadsheet, and then start playing around with different terms with combinations of different Wikipedia entities and seeing how they perform in search and what types of rankings you get from them. So that's what I mean. And so again, guys, I've shared this many times, but if we go look at topics and entities right here, right? This is what I mean. So like, I'm not going to do a search for just tree, but I understand that tree is a if I look at like, watch this, tree service, Wikipedia, right? tree care, arborist, arboricultural, tree health, the care of trees. Like we can see that these are all entities related to tree service, right? Tree care, arborist, all that stuff. So what I do is like, I just start playing around with those search queries and identifying the top entity terms. So we know that tree service, which is the Google business category, also has like one of the top level terms or entities, excuse me, is tree care, right? We can also see arborist, okay? The top level category for that now, though, Google business category is arborist service, okay? So that's another category there. Well, tree removal is really felling, okay? But felling is really, because interestingly enough, if you go take a look, this is where it can get interesting at times, but take a look at tree care, you can see that tree removal is really a function of tree care. It's a subtopic of tree care. If you look at felling is actually the process of cutting down trees as a task or of logging and deforestation, etc. But it's still synonymous is the process of cutting down trees. That's why I like to use felling as my brand for my LLG or local lead gen sites, because felling means tree removal, basically. So Felling Pro is the brand that I use for local lead gen sites, right? So for now, more recently, last several months, I've been building that brand out. And so Felling Pro is perfect because it means tree removal pro. That makes sense. So again, once you've identified topics or entities that are related to the industry that you're working in, then you start combining terms and testing with them and seeing. And this test here is just based upon what synonyms, what is bolded in Google search results when I search for any one of these terms. And this is how I identified that tree and maintenance, that's two separate terms combined to create one topic. Right? It's two entities, tree and maintenance, combined to create tree maintenance. And tree maintenance has the broadest topic coverage or keyword coverage of all of these search queries. So at the top of this is search queries. And these, so you see top level and then associated or synonyms. And so tree service has actually less coverage than some of these other search queries, even though that's the top level category. But tree maintenance has the most topic or keyword coverage, I should say. That makes sense. So it's just a matter of playing around with them. Like, again, one of the other ones is pruning, right? Pruning, but if we go take a look, this is a top level entity. But pruning is the practice involving the selective removal of certain parts of a plant, not just trees. So tree pruning is more specific, which again is the entity for tree and pruning combined to create tree pruning. Does that make sense? So it's just a matter of, kind of playing around. When I say testing, it's just about a matter of finding out, doing the research, determining what is relevant entities, which entities are relevant to the industry that you're working in, and then playing around with combinations of different terms to see how they perform. Page structure, remember I always talk about this, page structure, site structure, and internal linking. I always think those are the most three important things to do for local SEO, because it's web pages that rank for search queries, not websites. But a website's strength and authority has a significant influence on a page's ability to rank. And because thanks to the helpful content update, page structure, or excuse me, the overall site in its entirety is important because it affects the performance of a single page. And so I always start with page structure because that's what we're trying to rank as a page, and then optimizing for at the page level first, and then internally linking to the other pages that we want to associate with that page. And so the internal linking helps to dictate how the rest of the site should be built. So the site architecture or site structure, right? So I always start with page level optimization, and then that helps me determine how to optimize through internal linking the rest of the site and determine the architecture of the site. And so when I talk about page level structure or page structure, what I'm talking about is identifying, playing around with the structure of a particular page, changing the headings, order of the headings, the hierarchy, the HTML markup hierarchy, things like that, headings, subheadings. Guys, you can convey to Google what the page is about through the SEO title, headings, and subheadings. With nothing else on the page, you can convey to Google what the page is about. No kidding. No other content on the page, but the title, headings, and subheadings. And I say titles, there's two titles. There's the SEO title and the page or post title, which is the H1. So there's titles, headings, which are H2s, and subheadings, which are H3s, 4s, and 5s. And you can tell Google exactly what the page is about through the titles, headings, and subheadings with no additional content on the page. So for testing purposes, don't go out and build a site and have optimized article content and all this shit going to Page Optimizer Pro or Surfer SEO or on Page AI and spending an hour optimizing a piece of content to 100% score and all that. It's completely a waste of time, in my opinion. Useless. Don't do that. Go out and build a site on WordPress or whatever you want to build a site on, and just headings and subheadings of the pages. You don't need any other content. You don't need images. You don't need anything to test with. All you need is titles, headings, and subheadings. So if you build a wireframe site where it's just pages with titles, headings, and subheadings, you can test with that alone without the need for images and content and all that other shit. No kidding. And you can determine from just tracking the performance. Guys, you're not trying to rank those sites. It's for testing purposes to determine what performs the best. So all you have to do is find let's say that you've got a structure that you built and you put it in the Search Console and you put it into a rank tracker. Leave it alone for a few days, a few weeks. Let's put it that way. Give it time to settle, to season, to marinate a bit in the algorithm before you go SERP watching and checking rankings and all that. And let it sit. Put it in a rank tracker for the search queries that you're optimizing for. Find a very low competition area, like with next to no competition, and build a site there as I'm describing. You don't need images and content and all that stuff. I'm serious. Titles, headings, and subheadings. That's it. And then put it into a rank tracker and track the results. Wherever it ranks, it doesn't matter whether it ranks good or poorly. It doesn't matter. All you're trying to get is the ranking value. Like, where does it rank? That now is your control. For the first site, that's your control. Whatever the first iteration of that site is your control until you start testing against it. So that's your control. And then what you do is take that same site, clone it onto another domain, a similar domain, targeting the exact same keywords, the exact same locations, and change one variable of the pages. Let's say all of the supporting location pages, you change what you used in the as the H2s and the H3s. You rearranged how you stacked the headings and subheadings. But whatever change you made to one supporting location page, you want to try to duplicate that across the other supporting location pages too, the same type of change. And then compare that. Now, same thing, submit it for indexing, submit it to Search Console, put it in a rank tracker. And now you test. All you got to do is leave that one alone for the same amount of time. And then go look at it. How is this one ranking compared to how this one ranked? Did this one improve? Well, then if so, then I know that configuration is probably a better configuration. Now, I wouldn't take one test as a determining factor of, okay, I found a better performer. I would repeat that again and see again on another domain, another similarly low competition location, something like that. Can you do it again? Guys, please understand, this is why I'm telling all of you, and I have been for years now, to pick one goddamn industry and stick to it. Because imagine trying to do this across multiple industries. I don't know how anybody does it. And that's probably why most Me Too agencies don't get results for their clients, because they don't have the ability or the time or the bandwidth to do this kind of testing, which is why I keep telling you guys, find one damn industry and stick to that, because then once it allows you to do this kind of testing. And so to get back to the question, somebody said, do I do it on my personal sites? Yeah, until I have a good performer that I now know I can duplicate and repeat, and it's going to perform similarly in each new location that I deploy that same type of site, right? That's the control. And once I have a control that is a good performer developed, or, again, because it's through a trial and error process, once I've got a good performer that consistently performs with that same site structure, the same heading hierarchy on the pages at the page level, the same internal linking structure, all of that. Once I've figured all that out and I've got a decent performer, now I can start applying additional single variable tests to client sites, to active campaigns, active SEO campaigns, because I know that it's not going to hurt anything, right? I don't like doing initial testing on client sites, but once I have a decent performer that is a control that I'm comfortable using, now I can apply those control settings or configurations to client sites. And now I've got additional sites that I can single variable test things on to determine if it improves performance or hurts performance, right? So again, it's great because once you're in a single industry, now you've got a bunch of clients in that industry that once you have a fairly good performer as the control, you can start to apply that to your client sites and then use client sites also in your testing process. But I don't recommend testing with client sites initially. Oh, damn it, I'm so tired of these fucking bugs. Right now is a horrible time of year for bugs. God damn it, I just squished that bug. Nasty. Anyway, sorry guys. I've been swatting stink bugs and gnats for like 2 weeks now, and it's driving me crazy, but it's that time of year. So, all right, next one. Hopefully that clarifies that question. It's a great question, by the way, because again, guys, I don't recommend ever testing on client sites. It's okay to test on client sites when you have a very good process already in place. And you know that, if you're doing single variable tests, it's not going to create significant drops or gains usually. So it's okay to do some of those tests on client sites once you have identified a top performing setup, right? Hopefully that's clear, right? All right, so site look through reminder. Well, since the rest of these questions are yours anyways, and we've only got 18 minutes, I'll go ahead and jump into your site review. It's not a full audit. I'm not going to do a free audit or a full audit for free on a Hump Day Hangout. I'm just not going to do it. I do that for my mastermind members, and it wouldn't be fair to them to do that on a Hump Day Hangout. Okay, so but I did do some analysis on this, and we're going to talk about that right now. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into that. Let's close this down. All right, so this is the gentleman's project, rank 1 in Pakistan. Okay, he's got very few pages on the site. God damn it. Sorry, guys. It's always in the afternoon too when the bugs are worse. Anyway, so there's very few pages on the site. There are some things I'm going to recommend on this, just to be clear. But there's very few pages. What I did here was I started to do a competitive link analysis report. I only got the top 3 competitors analyzed. These other 2 were the additional competitors for the search query SEO agency Islamabad. Just so you guys know, the project data. Oops. Project data. Here is the business detail or business profile information, GBP information right there. And so what I do is, because the location landing page, which this gentleman has been paying attention because he did not link to his homepage, which is correct, proper. So he's got a dedicated page here for Islamabad because you can see that he's targeting other areas as well. Okay, so it's good because he's not linking to the homepage where he's on the homepage. He's talking about optimizing for all of Pakistan. That's correct because now the statement is, remember, guys, this is rank 1. Does search engine optimization in Pakistan. Who you are, what you do, where you do it. Brand entity, product or service entity, location entity. In the broadest terms possible from the homepage. Okay. Now, to be clear, search engine optimization is not the broadest term possible. Digital marketing is actually broader than search engine optimization, right? But if all you do is SEO or search engine optimization, then I would run with that. By the way, I wouldn't use digital marketing on my location pages if all you do is SEO, because digital marketing is a much broader topic. I'm going to prove that to you in just a moment. But if all you're targeting is search engine optimization, if that's the only service you provide, then there's no reason to optimize for digital marketing, because SEO is a specific subtype of digital marketing, right? It's its own entity, but it is a subtopic or subtype of digital marketing. Okay, so to be clear, like I said, I'm not picking on him. This is a very good effort for somebody that has only been coming to Hump Day Hangouts and not in our mastermind, doesn't have access to my SOPs. He's never ordered an audit or anything from me. So I'm impressed with the fact that you've been paying attention and implementing what you've been learning. Outstanding work. But there can be some improvements made, which is what I hope to provide today. So here's an example of some of these topics that I've started adding even more detail to my SEO audits. God damn it. That's part of the reason why I'm probably going to have to raise the price, because I keep adding more and more detail to these things. I'll show you an example of what it looks like in the actual audit document. And that's right here. And that is, now what I'm doing is I'm actually even initiating this page structure section of the audit right here, which is the first point in the on-page analysis for the self-hosted website. Now I'm going in here and I'm actually extracting the location entities, starting with where the GBP is physically located. So in this case, God damn it, I've got so many windows open, it's hard to track all this stuff right now. Give me 1 second. So let's just go kind of walk through this a little bit. Islamabad, Wikipedia. Now, I don't know that the hierarchy of geography is anything like it is in America and the US. It probably isn't. But Islamabad is the capital city of the Islamic Republic of Pakistan. So I don't know about, like, in the United States, like, let me just give you one that would be relevant for other people, but let's just say, like, I'm in Grundy, Virginia right now. So Grundy, Virginia would be the first location entity. If it was a GBP that I was auditing that was located in Grundy, I would start with where is the GBP located? We pull in that entity first. Then it says, okay, usually the next broader entity is going to be a county. Most of the time, a city is contained within a county. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it might be an independent city that is then surrounded by counties, or, more than one county, if that makes sense. Or, it can be 2, 3, whatever. In this case, Grundy is a town in Buchanan. I know it looks like it should be Buchanan, but it's not. If you say Buchanan around here, people look at you like they're from outer space. It's Buchanan. Anyways, Buchanan County is the broader location entity. And then it sometimes you'll see is in a region, like the Southwest Virginia region, right? And then sometimes there's even a broader region than that, maybe like Western Virginia. Do you understand? There's the hierarchy of location entities, guys, right here, right? It's different for this, I'm sure. And again, I'm just, for most of our audience in the US, so forgive me while I go down this path a little bit. But Grundy is the most specific location entity. The next broader entity is Buchanan County. The next broader entity is going to be Southwest Virginia. Sometimes it's going to be a metro area, right? Then the next broader entity is going to be, in this case, Western Virginia, which is a broader regional entity still contained within one state, right? So here's yet another one, right? Shenandoah Valley is another regional entity that is actually not part of what's part of Southwestern or Western Virginia. But Shenandoah Valley and Southwestern Virginia, those two regions combined create Western Virginia, which is yet a broader region, which are all, the broader region still is going to be the state of Virginia. Does that make sense? So just pointing that out, because in my audits now, I'm doing the location entity hierarchy just up to what I think is the most appropriate for that business, right? So I would show city, county, region, maybe state or broader region if it's relevant, if that's clear. And then I go in and I extract the top level topics and categories. Okay. And so that's what I'm showing you here, because I told you guys I did a SEO audit for a digital marketing agency in London earlier this week. So this is what I was extracting for topics and categories for them. All right. And so I went through down that kind of specifically to show you guys that, first I start with, here's the entities that then I'm going to reference within my recommendations for how to structure the pages. And just to be clear, I go in and I do SEO title for the homepage. And then for the service pages, I do SEO title, H1, H2, H3s, to showing the internal linking, which would be basically the element block from service pages that link over to the location pages, and the element block within location pages that link over to the service pages. But I go through and I show the SEO title, the H1, the first H, or the H2 that then introduces this element block or this element block, depending on which page it is. And through that process, I show how to do both topic and category optimization using variants of those entity terms. Because the SEO title is going to have the semantic triplet statement, subject, object, predicate, who they are, what they do, where they do it. That's going to be in the SEO title. Then the H1 is typically going to omit the brand entity, but it's going to restate the who they are, the what they do and where they do it. But restating that statement using entity variants. You guys understand that? So that you're not over optimizing for one particular term. You're getting the broadest coverage because you're optimized for the topic of the category in the SEO title. And then the H1 is going to be, you can omit the brand there because it's a page, the H1 is the page or post title that is published onto the branded domain. So in the SEO title, yes, I want to associate the brand with the product and service or service entity as well as the location entity. But on the H1, it's not necessary because the brand is implied. It's a page published on that branded website, right? The brand is understood. So you don't need to restate that. You can, but you don't have to. So using the H1, what I'm going to do is optimize for what you do and where you do it. But it's going to be restating the same terms that were used in the SEO title, but using variants of those terms, which is why I recommend having a document prepared like this, right? So that you can identify the terms that are most relevant and then find the entity variants. Keep a list of that stuff. Go look at Wikipedia. Look at what links here, right? Hide transclusions and hides whatever. Use those as additional hide transclusions and hide links. Use these as additional terms that you can optimize for. Do you understand? And then from there, we'll go back over here. And then again, then I showed the H1, like I said. Then the H2 is going to be using yet another version or variant of the topic term and entity term. There's another. God, bitch. Sorry, guys. It's nuts. Like, because I'm in an RV, there's like nooks and crannies that stink bugs get into, and they're just awful right now. It's unbelievable. I mean, I've probably killed or grabbed and thrown out 15 stink bugs from inside this RV today. That is not a joke. It's absolutely irritating as hell, but it's only temporary. All right. So then the H2, like I said, we'll use different variants of those entity terms. And then that H2 element then introduces the H2 heading and introduces the element block that then links to either the service pages or the location pages, depending on which page you're inserting it into. Hopefully that's clear. All right. So all of that is to say, let me just go back and jump onto these so that we can roll through this very quickly. Internet marketing, guys. Let me close some of these. Make a little bit of room. Okay. So I want you guys to see something. Internet marketing is synonymous with digital marketing. You guys understand that? Like, do you see that internet marketing is synonymous with digital marketing? So we're going to go to the digital marketing Wikipedia page, and we can see that the different types of subtopics right here: search engine optimization or SEO, search engine marketing, social media marketing, content marketing, right? Something else I want you to see is if I do a Control F here and I type in internet marketing, this is something else. The term digital marketing was coined in the 1990s. Digital marketing was formerly known as and referred to as online marketing, which is now has its own entity. And online advertising is synonymous with online marketing, internet advertising, digital advertising, and web advertising. So these are all the variants of this entity. You guys see that? So, but digital marketing is synonymous with online marketing. So that means digital marketing is synonymous with this entity or online marketing, which is a variant of this entity. And it's also synonymous with internet marketing. And it's also synonymous with web marketing, right? So what is the Google business category? It's internet marketing service. So that's digital marketing service, right? Internet marketing service. Well, what is service? As I've showed this before, service, Wikipedia. Service has many different meanings depending on which context it is used. The context in which we would be talking about an internet marketing service or a digital marketing service, because internet marketing and digital marketing are synonymous with each other, then it would be service economics, right? An act or use for which a consumer, government, company, government, or government, excuse me, let me try that again. A service is an act or use for which a consumer, company, or government is willing to pay. So when we're talking about an SEO agency, internet marketing service means internet marketing or digital marketing service, which is an act that somebody's willing to pay for. Digital marketing services. Does that make sense? So that's where this Google business category is created from: internet marketing service. Internet marketing and service economics combined to create that category. Okay. And so again, why I bring that up is because internet marketing service is a broad kind of term. That's the Google business category. So you do want to reference that. And again, you could reference that specific category term, or you could use any of the variants. It doesn't matter because they're all synonyms with that term. Does that make sense? But that is still a very broad category because you can see that that includes all of these subtopics or subtypes of digital marketing, right? And there's also, like I said, variants of those subtypes. So it gives you a very, very broad, digital marketing is very broad is what I'm getting at. So if all you do is focus in on SEO work, then yes, you still want to optimize for internet marketing service or for digital marketing service because they're synonymous with each other. But what I would then optimize for is SEO or search engine optimization. Because again, if we go over here and take a look at that term, what does it say? Search engine optimization has its own entity, by the way, right here. And by the way, there's one for local SEO too. But search engine optimization is synonymous with SEO. Okay. And then we can also go to see also, and here you'll see, I'm surprised it actually doesn't show that, but here are synonymous or tangential topics, right? So search engine marketing, which search engine marketing is, Google ads and pay-per-click and all. So there's another subtopic, right? All this kind of stuff. But then also take a look at this. There's also local SEO, right? Local search engine optimization or local SEO. Does that make sense? So the point that I'm trying to make is if you are an SEO agency and not a digital marketing agency that also does, which by the way, web design is not actually a function of digital marketing. It's a very closely related topic, but it is a separate entity entirely. It really is. But if you don't do web design and if you don't do content marketing and social media marketing and search engine marketing and PPC and all that other, you just do SEO, then I would focus in on those terms. Digital internet marketing service, because yes, you want, which can be interchanged with digital marketing service. That's fine. But yes, because that's the Google business category, but then focus in on SEO, search engine optimization, and local SEO, local search engine optimization, and any of the related terms there, right? Does that make sense? So again, I'm just pointing that out because I think on the homepage you have search engine optimization, and then on the location pages, you have digital marketing. And so what I would recommend that you do is change it to where you're optimizing the location pages for SEO in the title. And then I would put, just let me give you a quick example. I know we're about to run out of time. So let me give you a quick example of what I would do on the location pages for this. Okay. So we're going to do SEO title. I'm going to do using this. Well, let's use the Islamabad page. Okay. So what I would do is do, are you focusing on, I don't know, and I'm not going to have time to go look at the answers. So I'm just going to say, let's just focus on SEO. So I would probably do something like search engine optimization. Then I'm going to put Islamabad. Hope I spelled that properly. And then, God damn it, fucking bugs. Rank 1. Sorry, what I would do is this. For a location landing page, a supporting location page, I might put the keyword first or the topic first. But typically what I'll do is for the location landing page, which is directly connected to the GBP, I want to put the brand name first. By the way, it's just, yeah, okay. So yeah, so what I would do is actually, in this case, your GBP has the who you are and what you do in the name. So you don't need to restate the Google business category, because it says in the brand name who you are and what you do, right? So you're killing two birds with one stone, right? You're covering two of those terms in one. So what I would do is actually this right here. And then Islamabad, whatever that, I always prefer to do it the way that it's listed in Wikipedia. So yeah, so it doesn't say like comma Pakistan. If it did, I would add that. So I would have it something like that. That's my SEO title, right? So then we're going to look at the H1. The H1 would be, how about let's say Islamabad's top internet marketing service or digital marketing service. Either one of those would work because now you've got the Google business category or topic term, excuse me, or even in this case, maybe top. Yeah, I know what I would do here, and I'll show you. God damn, these fucking gnats are driving me up. Top search engine optimization. And I don't know if you guys spell it like the US or like the UK with a Z or an S, I'm not sure. Agency, let's do that. I'll get to a point here, guys. Then the H2, it's going to introduce the element block. I would do something like this. internet marketing services, which is a plural version of the Google business category. Or service, you could take, it could be plural or non-plural, it doesn't matter. So maybe this, right? Our services. That's right, in Pakistan. Get off me, motherfucker. God damn it. Sorry, guys. I'm just tired of it. And they're driving me nuts. When I'm on sales calls too, they're like land on me and I'm trying to pretend like they're not there because I don't want to look like an idiot. I don't care if you guys think I'm an idiot. You already know I am, but sales appointments a little bit different. Internet marketing services in Pakistan, right? So you guys understand now this is going to be the H3s. This introduces the element block that's going to have the H3s that lists and link to the service pages, right? If you have additional service pages. If you don't, you can omit it. You understand this is a location page. So what we want to do now, think about what we're doing here, guys. We're talking about who they are and what they do is listed right there. And in fact, it even says it there, and I didn't even notice that before. So your SEO title or Google Business Profile title says everything in the title. Who you are, what you do, and where you do it, right? So then H1 would be Islamabad's, so that's the location entity again, top search engine optimization agency, which is a variant of this term there, right? That entity. Okay, and then the internet marketing service is the Google Business category, right? So now we reinforce that in an H2, and that's fine. You can do that too. So internet marketing services in Pakistan, and then this would link and list to the service pages if you have additional service pages. If you don't, then fine, don't. But what I would do is I would have a page on the site, just so you know, that would be optimized for SEO, search engine optimization. And maybe you have one specifically dedicated for local SEO, right? So you would have service pages that then within the location pages, you link to those service pages, and you could do SEO, which you could call it national or global SEO or just SEO. And then the other one would be local SEO, right? Then again, so you have two separate pages, which by the way, the local SEO page could be a subpage of the SEO page. Does that make sense? But again, because then within the location page, now you have internal links that are H3s because that link is now weighted heavier. If it's a contextual link or a link within the content body of the page that has an H tag assigned to the anchor text, then it is a heavier weighted link. Google treats that link with more weight, more value than just a traditional traditional link without an H tag, if that makes sense. So that's why, again, now guys, through the titles and headings and subheadings, Google now understands what this page is about and how it relates to the associated pages. Does that make sense? So because it's after 5 o'clock, and last thing I want to do very quickly is just look at the backlink profile. Hopefully that's helpful. Because like I said, I can't go through the entire process on a free Hump Day Hangout. Guys, that just wouldn't be fair. But the last thing that I want to do then very quickly is take a look at the competitor backlink analysis based upon the 3 that I got completed. These are the top ranked competitors. After I went to Bright Local, I geolocated the browser, used the local search checker, geolocated for Islamabad, and then I did a search for SEO agency Islamabad, and the results that were returned were these right here. So the result, you can see as I was clicking through them and adding those URLs, I omit directories from this analysis. So I've got, this is the number 1 competitor. This is the number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7. That's what's listed right here. You see that? Now I was able to get the backlink analysis done for these fucking bugs, God. For these 3 URLs, but page URLs. Remember, guys, it's page URLs that are ranking for search queries, not websites. But the website's authority and link profile has a significant influence on a page's ability to rank. So we want to start with page level metrics. These 2, I did not get that done. Okay. But take a look at this. You can see, once again, what do we typically see, which is what I normally see. It's mostly brand anchors. Again, when I do these other 2, which I will do, and I'll send to the gentleman who asked me to review this once that report's done. You can see it's mostly brand anchors. That's typically what we see. My guess is once I get these other 2 done, it's going to be a significantly high link count, which is normal for an SEO agency. These are the topical categories that were identified on those pages according to on page, right? So I take the target asset or the target page URL, and then the top ranked competitors for this search query right here. And then I plug that data into predictive link building tool of on page. This submits this to Google's natural language API, and this returns the topical categories, Google's natural language categories that it identified on these pages. So then I list that data right here. Now you know exactly which type of content you should be producing when you're placing a contextual link to link back to your target page, right? You know to optimize or tune the content so that Google understands that content to fall within one or both of these categories, right? So now you can achieve page level relevance from your backlink. So what I was showing you guys earlier, when you hit proper relevance matching, look what you get. This is what you get, right? You want relevance matching. You don't want this, which is what I see all the time. This kind of shit. I mean, yeah, you can have that. That's part of a natural looking link profile. But if you're going to be going out and buying and spending money on links or building links manually, whatever, you should be trying to focus in on this, hitting the relevance matching like this, because it's better. It's more effective. Does that make sense? So looking at this, like I said, you can see that then what I do is match up the topical trust flow categories, which are Majestic's categories. It's not the same as Google's natural language categories, but they're very similar. So we match those topical categories up that would be related to these Google's natural language categories. And now you know exactly which type of links you should be getting from sources that have topical trust flow values, mainly in one or a combination of these categories. So that when you publish a post onto that referring domain source, now you know if the backlink profile that is pointing to that referring domain source is also relevant. When you place a link within relevant content onto a topically relevant site that has a relevant link profile already, you're going to extract the most value from that link as possible. Does that make sense? And so I am always looking at trying to produce results at 3 levels out. I want to match relevance matching at the referring page level, relevance matching at the referring domain level, and then I also want to do relevance matching at the backlink profile that is pointing to the referring domain. I'll show that to you here if I can just get it back into Majestic. Look at the backlink profile pointing to this referring domain, guys. Let's go to the root domain. Trust flow value 32 and 100% in one of the relevant categories that were identified as relevant for this project right there. Does that make sense? So if you see what I'm showing you here is we try to achieve link relevance from the referring page, referring domain, and even the backlink profile pointing to the referring domain that is relevant. So that when we publish a post on there, we're getting relevance pushing from 3 levels out all the way through to our target asset. So I bring all that up because if we go back and take a look at this data, the target project has 0 backlinks to that particular page. So this is looking at the page level. Now, this is looking at only this one version of the URL. Whenever I do this analysis for the competitive link analysis reports, we're actually looking at 4 versions of the URL, as you see here, right? HTTP, HTTPS, and then with and without www. So what we do is we analyze all 4 of those in this sheet. Now, when you're looking at it in Majestic, you can only look at in the bulk link checker or bulk backlink checker, you can only look at one URL at a time, right? So you can see that we just pull whatever the most current version is that was extracted from the SERPs, right? So at the page level, you can see it's not super competitive at the page level. At the domain level, it's not even super competitive, to be honest with you. Look at this, which is really interesting because if you look at the number of backlinks that are occurring, that's not referring domains. This is link count. I typically don't give a damn about link counts. What I really care about is referring domain counts. And so looking at this, it's not uber competitive. There's a couple of top ranked competitors here, like this guy here, with very few backlinks and not a very strong link profile. His backlink profile has some relevance, right? It's in one of these categories that I identified right here as being relevant. You understand? So he has a relevant link profile and he's ranking at the top of this guy, SEO Guru, is I think number 3. He's number 4. He's in number 4 position in organic search with a very weak link profile with only 9 referring domains, but it's relevant. You guys get that? And he probably has some really good on page too. And by the way, he could be doing companies that are ranking really well in local search. And you look at their SEO and you go, how the hell are they ranking? A lot of the times, guys, that's due to offline advertising and marketing. Because when people in a local area, verified Google users are in a local area and they see advertisements or hear advertisements or whatever, and it shows a company name, most of the time they're not going to memorize the phone number or the website URL. They're just going to go to Google and search for the company name and then click through. That is a fantastic signal. That is one of the best signals in the world, is when you get real, validated, verified Google user search and clicks for the brand. And so any company that's doing a lot of offline marketing and advertising, print marketing, direct mail, things like that are typically going to be able to rank very, very well, even if all the other SEO metrics would appear that they should, they have no business ranking. So I don't know that this guy has just got really good on page. I didn't even look at that. I'm just stating he's got a very weak link profile. It's relevant, but it's very low, like weak. It doesn't have a lot of referring domains, and there's not a lot of link equity flowing into here, or else it would have a higher trust flow value. Does that make sense? And yet he's ranking number 4 organically. So that might be something you want to go model and look at. But to just get back to this project very quickly so that I can wrap it up, because I'm way over. If we look at the target asset domain, we can see there's no backlinks built to it. So now here are the topical categories. These are the most relevant topical categories to get links from. That doesn't mean you can't use other categories within business, other subcategories within business, or other subcategories under computers or computers internet. By the way, this right here is a high-level page that doesn't want to load. I'll put this in chat if anybody's still here. Sorry, I've been on a roll today. I don't even know where chat is anymore. Shit, I never popped the chat out, so give me a minute, guys. I was going to put that in chat, but right there, for live. Here we go. Put this URL in chat. That's this semantic links topical trust flow list. And so just to be clear, if we go to the computers, you'll see computers has a ton of different subcategories, like a bunch of them. So anything under computers internet could be relevant. Does that make sense? I always only reference and list here the ones that I think are the most appropriate and relevant based upon the Google natural language categories that were identified on the top ranked pages for that search query. Does that make sense? But it doesn't mean that using other subcategories or subtopics within this category here aren't also relevant. They are. They're just partially relevant, and that's okay. Partially relevant links are still better than non-relevant links. Does that make sense? So the point that I'm trying to make is this does not mean that you can only get links from here or else they're not going to be effective. That's not what I'm saying. What I list here are the most relevant categories. Just to show you an example of that, if we go back to my Louisville Felling Pro, you'll see that at tier 1, what I list here is the most relevant. But if you look at the tier 2 link sheet, we also list broader categories that are still relevant. So in other words, right here at tier 1, and I do this for all link building clients, we list what the most relevant categories are to use at tier 1. So that when my team is placing links, they know to be looking for links to place at tier 1 within one of these relevant categories. But at tier 2, we can broaden that up a bit. Because isn't business real estate relevant to any sort of tree service project? Of course it is, because all trees are located on real estate, within a piece of real estate. So of course it's relevant, but it's not most appropriate at tier 1. It's more appropriate at tier 2, right? And so again, I'm just pointing that out so that you guys understand, it's not, everything is not so rigid that it has to be 100% this or 100% that. It's just to get the most value, you try to be the most relevant. And so you can be partially relevant and still push power, push relevance, etc. Hopefully that's clear. So anyways, thank you for being a good sport. I will finish the competitive backlink analysis for those two, and then I'll send you a reply email to the email that you sent me, sending me this. I'm not going to go into this any deeper right now. If you want to pick back up on it at a later time, maybe so. But especially if you go in and change some of this stuff around, like I mentioned, you might want to add some service pages, one for search engine optimization. Now, if all you're targeting is SEO, not also local SEO, then you could probably cover all of that in the homepage if you wanted to. And then it wouldn't be necessary to have an internal link to the service pages because it wouldn't be necessary. You could just basically restate what is on the homepage, but specifically for each location, right? Because remember, the homepage is optimized in the broader sense. Each location page could then be optimized for just SEO, basically for that particular location, and that's perfectly fine. But if you do offer other SEO besides just SEO, maybe local SEO, you could do subtopics of that, like link building and things like that. Then it might make sense to have like Google example, local SEO and Google Business Profile SEO are kind of synonymous, but you could have two separate service pages for that. Local SEO and Google Business SEO or Google Business Profile SEO or something like that, right? Does that make sense? Just to be clear, guys, like, because why I bring this up is because, like, I don't know, look at Louisville Phone Pro. These are the service pages. I didn't list all of those services on one page. I separated them out. And so I'm saying if you have sub-services of search engine optimization, then it might make sense to have separate service pages for each service type. Does that make sense? And then within the location page with the proper markup, then Internet Marketing Services in Pakistan, now you have a list of links that are going to be H3s that are going to link to those service pages. SEO, local SEO, Google Business Profile SEO, link building, things like that. Does that make sense? And that, because now what you're doing is you're adding more depth to the page with appropriate terms that link over to the service page. You don't need to have a lot of you don't need any content on these pages other than this. Seriously. And you can test with that and see how it performs. And then that's why I said play around with your configurations to figure out what performs best. All right. All right, guys. Sorry about the extended. Should I build links with non-index pages? I mean, you can. I've not seen. It depends. If it depends. So I'm going to say no. Don't do that yet. You were using this homepage. This homepage is the service page now as only one service. Okay. Yeah, but what I would do is probably add some depth to that. What I mean is, even though you're only offering SEO services, there are sub-services within SEO, right? Go look at the Wikipedia entity and start extracting some of the subtopics from that. And those could be potentially separate service pages. You understand? Because then the homepage is really about the brand. And then you have separate service pages that are more optimized to thoroughly describe each of those sub-services. And then now you've got link targets from within the content body of the location pages to point to those. And that pulls that information into that page without you have to have all the content on each location page. And now you have more thorough topic coverage of search engine optimization because you're not trying to squeeze it all into one page. You have separate service pages that describe the subtopics or sub-services, whatever, within search engine optimization as the overall broader category or topic, if that makes sense. I'm not saying you have to do that. I'm just saying I would consider doing that because the site will likely perform better. Guys, there's a reason why my tree service sites have each individual service separated out as a separate service page because it performs better. And I've done a lot of testing with this. That might not be the case with an SEO website, like an SEO agency's website, because I've not tested that. But I have in the tree service industry, and it performs better with separate service pages, right? As I showed you before, tree removal is actually a subservice of tree care, the entity. But and some of my newer builds, not that one, because that's one of my older builds, guys. There are technical errors on that site, and I've still not corrected them because it's performing okay as it is. But this is a better optimized site. And tree removal is actually a go look at the Wikipedia entity. Tree removal is a subtopic of tree care. But I separated them out because it performs better this way, if that makes sense. Okay, so, all right, I got to wrap it up. Sorry if I didn't get to any comments, guys, but we're way over. See you guys next week. Thanks, everybody, for being here.